Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? We got the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer we've been waiting for. Finally, attached to Avatar Fire and Ash, this trailer was completely leaked and in HD, which is fan-freaking-tastic for us today because we got 3 brand new scenes never before seen for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that comes out in just about 5 months from today. So, we're going to break it all down. And of course, we got some other news to talk about too. With Andor Season 2 being voted the best show of 2025, we'll talk about that. And Star Wars Starfighter wrapping filming and what that means for the future of Star Wars content. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? It's the end of a Star Wars week, and that means, well, we got a Mando trailer to talk about. Avatar Fire and Ash comes out this weekend, or started coming out this weekend already. And with it, we have a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. And for the first time in over 3 months, we have new footage for this movie. So we got 3 new scenes. They're all pretty great. One does tease the fact that I still think that Din Djarin is going to die in this movie. So I guess we'll all have to cope with that. But we'll talk about it. We'll break it down. We'll do all that fun stuff and blah, 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 blah. And Andor Season 2, we'll talk about that as well and put it up against other great TV series and seasons this year in 2025. But before we do any of that, let's start the stream the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat. Shall we? Holly, what is up? Starship 66 in the house. Another Mike who loves Star Wars. What is up? Melissa, how we doing? Sklee, what's up? How we doing? Been a while. Manning Films, what is up? I Haja in the house. Steve, how we doing? Dale Skywalker in the building. JC in the house. Darth Plagueis lives. What is up? Brandon Baker, how we doing? King Shadow in the house. WV Grad, what is up? 50 Thunder, how we doing? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I know, we're only a couple seconds into a live stream and I'm already killing somebody off, but it will be a very important topic of today's discussion because this new trailer is screaming to me that Din Djarin will die in this movie. Now, I know nobody wants Din Djarin to die. I don't want Din Djarin to die. He's a great character. He's one of my favorites in the Disney era. But, you know, he's got to die at some point, and it's got to be meaningful, and it's got to be... We'll talk about it. I don't want to get too far into killing off Din Djarin. We have barely even started the show. Don't want to, scare everybody away. But let's start here. You know what? Let's put up a poll. Since you guys brought it up, I mean, it wasn't even me. You guys are the ones who are like, kill Din Djarin off, Mike. Do it. You have to. So let's poll it up. Why not? Let's start the stream with a poll. Let's do it. Before we even watch the trailer, let's start it with the poll. Do you think Din Djarin will die in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Yes or no? Yes or no? And take all your, emotions. Take all your love for the character. Take all that, stupid stuff and throw it out the window. Think logically here. How perfect would it be for this character to sacrifice himself to save Grogu, and how much that would impact Grogu and impact our other characters that we know and love in the Mandoverse? Think about it before you vote. Let's just start there. Think about it before you vote on the poll, okay? And then we'll go from there. Let's watch this trailer though, shall we? So we got 3 brand new scenes along with some scenes we've already seen. I'm hoping Lucasfilm, if you're watching, we're good here, I know it's a leaked trailer, but I got to do my job here. I mean, we got to watch the trailer. I can't sit here and not watch the trailer. So I hope you understand. All right, let's.
I'm so tired
Oh, hang on.
that it restricts you.
Let's watch this. So at first, it came out as sort of a grainy video of a video of a video of a video type deal. But now we have a pretty HD, high quality version of this trailer. So this is attached to Avatar Fire and Ash. I've been hearing that it's not with every screening. So it's like select theaters type thing. Maybe it's only in IMAX. I am not too sure. However, let's watch it.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor first. It's gotta fit snug so it doesn't slide, but not so tight that it restricts your movement. Got it?
Got it. So the last 13 seconds there was the stuff that we broke down on Thursday's live stream, which was, the leaked trailer on Thursday's live stream. So as we assumed, as we predicted, that was just the tail end of this trailer. So we got the entire thing. Yes, the great gladiator fight at the end versus all the Djarin or hollow chess pieces from the Millennium Falcon. Din Djarin going up against all those great callbacks to the original trilogy. But also, we have two other new scenes. One right at the beginning, which is this, and this is why I think Din Djarin's going to die.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor first. It's gotta fit snug so it doesn't slide, but not so tight that it restricts your movement. Got it?
Just some casual father-son bonding, sort of like, Tech teaching Omega to pilot before he dies, or like, just some usual Star Wars guy, master teaches apprentice before master dies, Qui-Gon Jinn, or Tech teaching Omega and Tech dies in that season, or now you have Din Djarin teaching Grogu and then he dies in the movie. That's besides the point, okay? A little bit of cool stuff going on in this first initial thing. What ship do we think this is? I'm pretty sure it's not a Razor Crest, just based off of the shape and length. It's a lot skinnier, I think, than a Razor Crest, or than the Razor Crest was in the first two seasons. And it's got a lot more, it's longer to me. Maybe it's the U-Wing that we do see in, is it in this trailer too? I'm not too sure. What ship do we think this is? Oh, hang on. We got a super chat, too. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 holla. My God, that's insanely generous. Says, Din will not die. Oh, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Also, Andor is the best show of the year. We'll talk about that in the back half of the of this live stream. But yes, I agree with you on half of your message. But I appreciate the super chat on the full message. But what do we think this is? What ship do we think we're looking at here? At least the inside of it. I don't think it's a Razor Crest. It's too big. Someone said a cargo ship. Some kind of cargo ship. Okay. It's okay if he does die. There's always a chance that he comes back to life anyway. True. In Star Wars, no one's ever truly gone. Now, if Din Djarin dies, he's gone. He's gone for good. In that, again, we'll talk about it. Let's break down this trailer first. Where do you find this trailer? I just found it on the X, formerly known as Twitter. You know, wait, what the hell? Wait, wait. Did my eyes deceive me there? Or did I see red? Holy crap. Oh, Jordan Rennie in the house with a very generous $100 super chat. Are you
incorrect?
Kidding me? Holy crap, Jordan, that's insane. It says Merry Christmas, Sam. ... You too, Mike. Thanks, I think. No, that's insanely generous, Jordan. Holy crap. Yeah, super chats have colors to them. So as soon as I saw red out of the corner of my eye, I was like, whoa, is that real? And then, of course, it was, because Jordan is insane. Like, $5 super chats are that nice little, I don't even know, greenish, I guess, kind of green, blue, whatever you want to call it. And then the $2 are blue, and then the $10 are yellow, and then the $20 are orange. It's a whole thing. But I saw the red, and I was like, what? I appreciate that, Jordan. That's insanely generous. Like, just, absolutely insane. I appreciate that. Yeah, just, you make me not be able to create words with my mouth. So, yeah. But now that I've been so rudely interrupted, let's get back to this. What kind of ship do we think this is? Imperial troop transport from season 2? Imperial troop transport from season 2. I don't really know what that means. Let's look it up. Imperial troop transport. Let's see. Oh, like this thing? No, that doesn't look like it at all. Another Mike who loves Star Wars is a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, Andor, need I say more? Yes, Andor. Okay, sure. Exactly. Are you talking about this Imperial shuttle? Because it definitely can't be that. Or this one. I guess it could be this, but the one where the door opens in the front. I don't think it's an Imperial ship, though. Go back here. I'm thinking the U-Wing. We've seen the inside of the U-Wing before, though, right? In Andor? Hang on. Let me see if I can find a picture of the inside of a U-Wing. In Andor and in Rogue One, I believe, we probably would have seen him, no? Let's see. Star Wars U-Wing. Need an image of the inside. Actually, no, this is even smaller. This is the U-Wing, and this is what I was thinking, but this is even smaller than the last one. Yeah, that's way too small. What ship are we looking at here, Chad? It's not a Razor Crest. It's way too long and thin to be a Razor Crest. Razor Crests are wider and shorter. What ship is this? I thought it was a U-Wing, but now I have no idea. And you have to put into account that it's just Din and Grogu here. They're on their own sort of mission together.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor first.
Is that a door? It doesn't really look like it now to me. There's a bunch of different seats. And of course, they're going into a battle here of some sort.
It's got to fit snug so it doesn't slide, but not so tight that it restricts your movement. Got it?
Got it. Grogu's definitely going to say his first words in this movie. He almost did in season 3, so I'm assuming that in this movie he will say his first words. But you have the, you have the cutest and most sold character coming back to Star Wars in a big, big way on the big screen. So, yeah, I mean, we can talk about the $1 billion question, literally, over and over again, but this movie will be making $1 billion. But we do get to see the armor that he got in season 3,
Slide.
where he's got the mud horn, the clan of 2. the Mudhorn, and he's got the chainmail armor that he got from the Beskar spear that they melted down for Grogu.
It's not so tight that it restricts your movement. Got it?
Got it. Is it just me that watches this scene and thinks that Din Djarin's a goner? Like, is it a me problem? Or what? What do we think? 35% of you in the chat right now agree with me that Din Djarin will die in this movie. 35%. That's no small percentage right there. Why does his voice sound AI? Well, because it's a video of this isn't the actual trailer. Like Lucasfilm themselves didn't post this online. It's still just a recording of the trailer. So that's why the audio sounds sort of, I guess, different or distorted in a way. It's not the official release, I suppose. So it's not the best quality, if you will. Yeah. Oh my God. Jordan, you're absolutely insane. Cut him off. Cut Jordan Rennie off. That's insanely generous, Jordan. I appreciate that. The $50 super chat says, and a happy new year. I appreciate that, Jordan. It's a very, very happy new year now. We'll put it that way. I appreciate that. His first words will be no when he sees Mando die. I mean, his first words got to be, this is the way, right? It's got to be. But he wouldn't like see Din Djarin die and then be like, this is the way. You know, it wouldn't be like, oh, my dad is dead. This is the way. No. So to me, he just said, got it. He didn't say got it. He just sort of gave a head nod.
Snug so it doesn't slide. It's not so tight that it restricts your movement. Got it?
More of a, ah. His first, this is a bit of leaked knowledge, but his first word's going to be couch. I still don't understand the couch reference. I don't get it. Mando ain't dying yet. Move along, move along. All right, here's why Din Djarin's going to die. All right? Let me paint the picture for you. Din Djarin has been a character in Star Wars for over 6 years. First introduced in 2019 in The Mandalorian Season 1. So it's not like we haven't had plenty of time with this character. He's probably had more screen time through his 3 seasons, his 24 episodes, and the Book of Boba Fett than most other characters. Probably 95% of other characters in Star Wars. He is up there with the names of Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and others. He has had plenty of character development, character arc. It's not like you're killing a character off who's such a main integral character to the timeline when you've barely even scratched the surface on what's possible with this character. No, you have spent so much time with this guy. You also have to put into effect that Pedro Pascal, who is the voice of Din Djarin, is a guy who is not only one of the hottest, not physically, I mean, maybe to each their own, but hottest in terms of getting jobs in Hollywood right now. He is everywhere. He's Reed Richards in Marvel, in the MCU. He's Joel in The Last of Us. He's in like 10 different movies this summer. One with Joaquin Phoenix, one with Chris Evans, and somebody else. And he's everywhere, okay? He's in everything. So, and there's, of course, been all those behind the scenes, what you believe, what don't you believe. But for season 3 of The Mandalorian especially, he was barely on set at all. He's just a voice actor at this point because it's been made very clear that we won't be seeing Din Djarin's face. Because in season 3, we didn't see it because, well, that's the whole gist of the 3rd season. He goes to Mandalore to bathe in the waters so that he can be, redeemed for taking off his helmet, and he's never going to do that again. So unless he dies, that helmet's not coming off. Then on screen, so that's the off screen stuff with Pedro Pascal, the behind the scenes, all that, whatever. On screen, what this would do for the characters around and specifically Grogu would be incredible. It would not only set up a trilogy, yeah, that's right, a trilogy, where finally there's something to, some stakes to the story. If this was just a Heir to the Empire story with Great Admiral Thrawn, where Luke, Leia, Han, Lando, Chewie, C-3PO, and R2-D2 were the main characters, well, then it wouldn't even be worth watching. Sure, it would be awesome, but you know that every single one of those characters survives. What's the point? If Din Djarin dies in the very first movie of this trilogy, no one is safe. Everything is up in the air, and it makes for a way better story. It's just like Qui-Gon Jinn dying in The Phantom Menace. It's just like Han Solo dying in The Force Awakens. It's just like Obi-Wan Kenobi dying in A New Hope. That very, very emotional scene, yeah, sure, but a very important character, mentor, leader, father figure dying, and how that affects the characters around it. Not only that, but in Din Djarin's case, when you're trying to take down the Big Blue Meanie, when you're trying to take down Grand Admiral Thrawn, you need someone or something to happen or die to bring all these people together. In the first 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, we're all about Din Djarin making a lot of friends. Because when you first meet him, he's the lone gunslinging bounty hunter who has no friends. None. And then he gets Grief Karga. Then he gets Bo-Katan and Boba Fett and Ahsoka Tano. And then his son goes to train with Luke frickin' Skywalker. And he's got Cobb Vanth. And he's got all these different friends. Bill Burr, who I'm blanking on his character's name. Somebody help me out in the chat. But he's got all these different... Fennec Shand. All these different friends. All over the galaxy now. A lot of those characters have zero connection to each other. Ahsoka Tano to Fennec Shand, there's nothing. Bo-Katan to Cobb Vanth, there's nothing. So the only connective piece there is Din Djarin. And if he is to die, that would bring those people together because depending on who kills him, Grand Admiral Thrawn, or at least the Imperial Remnant, then those people would come together with Grogu, of course, and take down the big threat. Mayfield, thank you. Yes, Miggs Mayfield. What a great name. Thank you. Bill Burr in Star Wars. What a legend. So, Din Djarin's death would be that catalyst to bring all those characters together. It would be just like the beginning of every Star Wars trilogy we've ever seen, with a big monumental death like Han Solo, Qui-Gon Jinn, or Obi-Wan Kenobi for their respective trilogies. And he's had his time. Din Djarin has had plenty of time. He's very much like Han Solo or Obi-Wan right now. He's already had his trilogy. And now in the next trilogy, in the first episode, he's going out. And he's hopefully going out with a bang. Right now, Grand Admiral Thrawn, as great as he is, as cool as I know him to be, and many of you do too if you've read the novels, not just the legend stuff, but the canon stuff too, Thrawn is badass. He's one of the best villains in all of Star Wars, and that's extremely difficult to do when you don't have the Force and you're not a Sith Lord. That's so hard to do, and yet he is. But to the normie fan, to the fan that's never read any of the books and doesn't even know who this big blue meanie is, to establish him as a good enough threat when he doesn't have the Force, when he's not a Sith Lord, when your last 2 villains were Palpatine and Darth Vader, how are you going to one-up that with a blue guy who doesn't have any mystical magical abilities? You're going to have to do it in a big way, and killing off a fan-favorite character named Din Djarin and having Grand Admiral Thrawn be the one responsible for that would make it very clear that this guy is the real deal and he's a big threat. So not only would Din Djarin's death just be meaningful to Grogu or to one specific person, but it would be meaningful to the story. It would be meaningful to everybody in the Star Wars galaxy that's connected to this character, and it would establish that your villain is a big threat and not somebody that you can take lightly. So yeah, I get that people don't want their favorite characters to die. People probably didn't want Han Solo to die in The Force Awakens. I said probably. It's not probably. So many people hate and hate is a strong word, as you guys know, hate The Force Awakens just because it killed Han Solo, which is, I know, maybe he's your favorite character. That's fine. He's not mine. He's definitely a top 10 for me, but he's not my favorite character. So, his death was emotional and sad and whatever, but it did serve the story, especially for Kylo Ren. But I get it. You don't want your favorite characters to die. You don't want the Qui-Gon Jinns of the world, the Obi-Wan Kenobis of the world, the Han Solos of the world to die. But here's the reality. Din Djarin's death would be shocking. It would draw people to the movie theater to go, wait, what? They killed off their titular character of the movie? It would set up the villain perfectly. And it would bring all of our heroes together behind one simple cause. By the way, heroes and villain that are not mentioned in the sequel trilogy and not seen in the sequel trilogy. The characters I mentioned in this sort of spiel so far, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, Ahsoka Tano, Cobb Vanth, Fennec Shand, Migs Mayfield, none of them are mentioned or seen in the sequel trilogy, along with Grand Admiral Thrawn, of course. So all of those characters could have this big battle, this huge fight in the unknown regions, or in the outer rim, maybe. Or maybe even in the inner rim. Who knows? But since the characters of Luke, Leia, Han, and I guess your sequel characters who would be too young at this point, like Rey, Finn, and Kylo, they would not be involved, first of all, so it wouldn't be mentioned. Now, of course, there's the whole, Ahsoka's not mentioned in the prequel trilogy, and that's because her character didn't exist yet. But there's ways to go around that. For example, Thrawn could be a very big threat and still not be mentioned in the sequels because maybe there's, a bigger threat at hand with Snoke and Kylo Ren and, the First Order and Palpatine returning somehow. There's other things to talk about at that time. But still, you have this big threat as the heir to the Empire. Mandalorians. Not a single Mandalorian is seen in the sequel trilogy. So you could have this almost contained battle, this contained arc, this contained trilogy, all taking place in a certain spot in the galaxy around maybe Dathomir, which also isn't in the sequels, or Mandalore, which also isn't in the sequels. That can be so badass, so cool. For some people who don't even like the sequel trilogy, could be their sequel trilogy. And be that connective piece between the originals and the sequels. I think Luke could be involved still, maybe in a smaller way, or even Leia could be involved still in a smaller way. But to bring it all together, Din Djarin's death would be perfect. It would be sad. I love the character of Din Djarin. I love Pedro Pascal. I love this Mandalorian himself, the father to Grogu. But I haven't even talked about Grogu yet. Imagine what it would do to that little guy. Imagine this guy losing his father figure, his adoptive father. Dark side. Okay. Okay. If they kill Din off, it's going to piss people off. Yes, you're absolutely correct. However, they killed Han Solo off. It pissed people off. And as JC points out, if this movie makes $1 billion, why would they kill him off? That wouldn't allow them to make more. Grogu's still alive. The story can still continue. The Mandalorian already exists on Disney Plus in 3 seasons. This is a trilogy. Now, we've been calling it the Mando trilogy because there's no real other name for this time period. I guess you could call it the New Republic era or something like that. Mando era or Mandoverse has been the, I guess, normal saying to say now when you're talking about this time period in between the originals and the sequels. So when I call it the Mandoverse, that's just because it's his name. It's not because Din Djarin's going to be the character that runs this whole show for the entirety of a trilogy. I don't think that's the case. He's not even going to be the main character of the entire thing, I don't think. So, and going back to the whole $1 billion thing, they killed off Han Solo, and that movie made $2 billion. Now, I'm not saying because they killed Han Solo off, then they made $2 billion because of it. No, obviously not. However, just because they're killing off a main character and a character that people love so much doesn't mean the movie will get hurt by that. If anything, I think it would make it even better. Yeah. A story for kids isn't going to tell a story where Grogu loses his dad and then goes dark side over the grief. Just don't see them telling that tale, LOL. Robert, you bring up a great point. Here's my counter. Star Wars has been made for 13-year-olds, 12, 13-year-olds, whatever. That's what George Lucas has always intended these stories to be. He has Anakin Skywalker slaughter younglings, burn alive, get all of his limbs chopped off, and has clone troopers who have fought alongside the Jedi for a 3-year long war massacre the Jedi. So yeah, Grogu's cute. He's going to draw a lot of kids to the movies, but Star Wars has always been a kids show. It's been a kids movie. It's been a kids story. It's been made for kids forever, and yet horrible things happen. Obi-Wan has died. Vader has died. Palpatine has died. Somehow he returns, but he dies again. Han Solo dies. Luke Skywalker dies. Leia dies. Qui-Gon dies. Anakin Skywalker burns alive and kills younglings. Yes, it's a kid's story, but let's be honest here, a lot worse has happened than just Din Djarin dying. A lot worse. Din Djarin almost dies in season 1 of the show, and Grogu's right there. I missed the super chat. Hang on. So Din Djarin's death is not going to be stopped by the fact that Star Wars is made for kids, because so many characters die in Star Wars. Yeah. All right, let me see. Hodge with a very generous $2 holla says, your Christmas song is the 12 Days of Death Miss. Yes. And on the first day of Death Miss, Din Djarin dies in The Mandalorian and Grogu. You want to know what happens on the second day of Death Miss? Din Djarin dies in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Yeah. But I appreciate the super chat. Jordan Rennie said, with $2 says, Grogu's first word is going to be Daddy Din dead.
This is where the fun begins.
See? Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Is it going to go through all those super chats again? Mute. Now we're talking. And Jordan with another $5 haul. Holy crap. Says, Grogu's second words will be Filoni, but I'm not telling you his first words. What? Oh, like Dave Filoni? I get you. Funny. Okay. But with that, I know. So right now, 72% of you say you don't think Din Djarin's going to die in the movie, and 28% say you do. So to those 28% of you, I say, let's go. Welcome to the dark side. And to the 72% of you, I'm just going to say, you've been warned. You've been warned. But I think I made my point. The death of Din Djarin would be so unbelievably meaningful to the story itself, to the characters, and to setting up Grand Admiral Thrawn to be a actual really good and scary villain. Because right now, nobody even cares. Nobody cares about... Thanks, Jordan. Nobody cares about Grand Admiral Thrawn because he's not that big a threat. At least not yet. So let's watch this again. And keep in mind, imagine how meaningful, imagine how much, I actually think it would help the views of The Mandalorian's first 3 seasons if Din Djarin dies. Because now you're going back to watch those 3 seasons like this is the only time I have with this character now. It's over. And they got to kind of, mix it up. The Mandalorian and Grogu can't just be a continuation of an adventure of the week type thing. It has to be a very meaningful and important story for it to go from the small screen to the big screen. And Din Djarin's death would do that.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor first. It's got to fit snug so it doesn't slide. It's not so tight that it restricts your movement. Got it?
Again, even the same images or same pieces of this trailer that we are seeing, other than the 3 new scenes, they're still trying to make us think these are the same 2 locations when it's almost blatantly obvious that they're not. These 2 scenes back to back here are clearly different. You have the 1 binocular that turns into 2, and this location is Navarro, and where they're looking is an Imperial base. That's a different place. Different binoculars and a different place. This is not the Adelphi base. Someone is going to have to console Mike in May when Din is still alive. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, so first and foremost, no. If Din Djarin comes out unscathed, if Din Djarin comes out alive, I'm okay with that, okay? I just don't think he will, okay? I don't think he will. Another Mike who loves Star Wars upgrades to the night level. Holy crap, I appreciate that. Super Chats memberships keep the lights on over here. Oh, this is a great time to just mention this. On Tuesday, we have a giveaway, a sort of holiday season Christmas giveaway, whatever you want to call it. Giveaway on Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday, we have another giveaway for the end of the month giveaway that we do at the end of every month. So 2 giveaways coming up this Tuesday and the following Tuesday, so watch over that. Yeah. Okay, so if Din Djarin doesn't die, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh no, Din Djarin's not dead. This is the end of the world, okay? But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to warn you, okay? I'm trying to lean you in. So when Din Djarin dies on May 22nd, 2026, you all won't be like, oh my God, Mike, why didn't you warn us? I'm going to be like, I told you! I tried to warn you for months and months and months. Okay, well, let's continue. Here we got our Babu Frick looking character. It is not Babu Frick, but it's an Anzellan, the same species as Babu. Grogu with the Anzellans. He and Din have split up. It's never a good thing when the heroes split up. You know who was the last people to split up? It was when Tech jumped on that rail line in season 2 to, split up from the rest of the gang. And then when he gets back, you know what happens to Tech? You know what happens? The Adelphi base. They're still pushing Sigourney Weaver like she's going to be a huge character. She's in all the posters, she's in all the trailers, but yet, from what we've heard, she only has a few scenes in this movie. She was only on set for a couple days. So, they're clearly keeping a lot of secrets over there at Lucasfilm. Here we got this same planet. Could be Ord Mantell because of the Mantell mix. It could be Nar Shaddaa because of the huts, and that's sort of the criminal underworld. It's right in the middle of the hut space. It could be a new planet for all we know. We don't really know. This big bar fight. Again, there's going to be so much action in this movie. From all the stuff of the AT-AT walkers to this big bar fight to the gladiator fight. There's going to be a ton of just straight up action. We've seen this creature in the trailers before. And it's a character from Jabba's palace or a member of the species of a character in Jabba's palace, and from a deleted scene in the Clone Wars, which is pretty cool. But we don't really know what the context is here. It looks like some sort of cave with water in it, but mythosaur question mark? No, I really don't know. We don't know the context of what this guy's doing. We've just seen him before. Yeah. Din by himself with Grogu, of course. But no Zeb, and this is supposed to be Zeb's Razor Crest. Let me ask you guys, what are your thoughts on the return of the Razor Crest? Thoughts? The mentor/teacher dies a lot in these first installments of Star Wars movies. Exactly! Han, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan. You're not wrong. But what do we think of this? Because the N1 Starfighter is really, really cool. Really cool. But the Razor Crest was cool too. It was just destroyed in Season 2. Are we pro the return of the Razor Crest? And what do we think is going to happen to the N1 Starfighter? Will that be destroyed? What do we think? I'd love to see Kadomia, a planet in the corporate sector of Star Wars. Not familiar just by the name. Who's your favorite character that you've killed off, Mike? Well, I mean, most of my favorite characters are dead. Obi-Wan, Yoda, Anakin, Maul, Kanan. The only characters that are sort of in my top whatever that are still alive, well, I guess Ahsoka's my second favorite character of all time, so she's technically still alive, but she's died multiple times. So I don't know. If Din dies, don't get your hopes up, Mike, then Grogu will get the Mythosaur to try and help him. Interesting. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of scenes in this trailer and the last one that have them split up a lot. And maybe you're right. Maybe he's going to get the Mythosaur to help Din, but we don't know. Woody Harrelson's character dies in Solo too. True. Tobias Beckett. That is also true. He is the mentor. For sure. Well, he couldn't fit Stinky in the M1 Starfighter, could he? Plus, Grogu's farts are toxic.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Oh my God, it's going to go through all the super chats again. Are you kidding me? Mute that. All right. But yes, I suppose Grogu's farts, toxic. But yeah, he's a bounty hunter and he can't really collect bounties with an N1 Starfighter. That's true, but that doesn't answer the question of what happens to it. I love the Razor Crest and was sad when it was destroyed. True, but you'll also be sad when Din Djarin dies, and that's not coming back. So it's far more speed and probably stealth, depending on what Din is transporting. With updated Republic codes, yeah, it's probably a Republic ship, which does help. The M1 Starfighter is not. That's true. But either way, it's very good to see Din Djarin back in a Razor Crest. I loved me some Razor Crest. Do you think this has anything to do with like the yellow? Do you think that has anything to do with, or the gold, I suppose? Anything to do with like Gold Leader? Gold Leader standing by. Do you think Din Djarin's now like a part of Golden Squad, whatever it's called? Like, why is that? Just for to show fans that this Razor Crest is different from the other Razor Crest? And follow-up question: is this the same Razor Crest that's seen at Maz Kanata's castle? In The Force Awakens, when Han, Chewie, Rey, and Finn, when they arrive at Maz Kanata's castle, there's a Razor Crest in the background. And everybody thought it was going to be Din Djarin's and that he would have survived and he was at Maz Kanata's castle and we're like, ooh, cool Easter egg. But then in season 2 of The Mandalorian, his, his Razor Crest went kaboom. So people were like, okay, that's not his Razor Crest. But now he's getting another Razor Crest back. So could this Razor Crest be the one that's in the background at Maz Kanata's castle? Thoughts? He's probably going to be the leader of, or a member of Gold Squad. Well, I don't quite remember, but does Gold leader and, or I'm assuming the rest of the squad, they all die at the Death Star, right? Gold leader standing by, and then I quite frankly remember him going, ah, and dying in a fiery explosion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. The one mentor who doesn't die in the Star Wars series is Jod Nawut. Well, yeah, but he sort of became the villain, so it's a little bit different. Oh, Holly with a very generous $20 super chat. You guys are insane today. I appreciate that quite a bit. It says, Merry Early Christmas. Merry Early Christmas right back to you. We do have another live stream before Christmas, so of course we'll celebrate a little bit more on Tuesday. But she also says Din won't die. I mean, $20 is not going to save Din Djarin, just saying. No, I appreciate it quite a bit. I know it's a hot take that I think Din Djarin will die. I just think for the betterment of the story and for what could end up being an incredible trilogy, Din's death in the first episode would be perfect. But hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to help. Just trying to help you cope, We still don't know what these ships are. These things. We got a better look at them in the other trailer, but still, we don't know what they are. Do we think this is Grogu swimming to the Mythosaur? Yes or no? Is this Mandalore? Are we going back to Mandalore? Because if we are, that means Bo-Katan's in it and all these leakers and scoopers are wrong. Is the Mythosaur going to be in this movie? Is that where Grogu's swimming to? Or is it something else? What do we think? Thoughts? Opinions? Thoughts, chat? Oh my God, Jordan. Calm down. Chat, you guys are insane today, and I appreciate it so much. Jordan with a very generous $50 super chat. This is a contribution to Save Din. No. No. I appreciate the super chat, though. Is this going to the Mythosaur? Is this on Mandalore? What do we think? The Saved In appeal, the SDA. I like it. I like it. Start the movement. You better start it now because it's already in post-production. They're going to have to go back and do reshoots before May. They're going to have to change the whole ending of the movie. Maybe the Mythosaur. Well, where else would he be? The background kind of looks like the rocky features of the caves, the mines. The mines! That was my Steve impression from the Minecraft movie. Officer Murdoch, what's up? How's it going? For some reason, I just don't think the Mythosaur will be in this movie. If it's a trilogy, I could see it showing up sort of in the back half of the trilogy, in the big old battle that happens maybe in the third movie, but I don't really see him appearing in this one. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. John and Dave hear us out. If John and Dave are watching, kill Din Djarin. The problem is, if they're watching, they heard my spiel earlier about how great it would be for the story and the characters and Grand Admiral Thrawn and Grogu and how awesome it would be for the story, that they were like, oh yeah, Mike's 100% right. Come on. Yeah. It's the same water in the trailer? I don't know. I don't know if it's the exact... You can't tell here. I don't know. Grogu be swimming, though. Zeb being all badass. Again, they're split up. Is this Mandalore, you think? What planet do you guys think this is? Mandalore turned to glass behind him, or is it something else? Could be Navarro. Actually, yeah, it looks like Navarro. And these guys are on Navarro, so that would make sense too. This was the Ewing I was thinking that they were on before, but again, it does not look nearly long enough or big enough for that to be the ship that they were in at the beginning of this trailer. But still, Ewing is really, really cool. Is Cassian flying the Ewing? Somehow Cassian Andor returns. Write that down. Somehow Cassian survived the beaches of Scarif and is still alive piloting a Ewing for the New Republic. Write that down. What a wonderful day! I don't know why, but I literally can't watch this scene without hearing that from Planet of the Apes. I've never even seen that movie, but just from the trailer, you know, the guy's like, what a wonderful... Yeah, okay, sorry. And we know that he goes from being audience member to fighting in the arena. Somebody mentioned this in the Discord yesterday. I forget who it was, so shout out to you. But if you are not yet in the Discord, go join that Discord, of course. This could be underneath the arena that we just saw upstairs with Stinky the Hut. And this could be Din Djarin trying to break into this and fail. And then when he's captured, he himself is thrown into the arena. And that's why we see him fighting all of the chess pieces at the end of this trailer. So it could be that he's not voluntarily going into the arena, but that he is, you know, he's being tossed in there because he got captured. Either way, shout out to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for coming up with awesome shit like this. So cool. I mean, you're talking giant cool droids, and this might be a setup for the giant cool droids that we're going to be seeing on Peridia, which will be great too. Yeah. Do you think Lady Proxima, the slug from Solo, will return at some point? Unless they go to Corellia, I'd say no, because she can't survive in the sunlight, so she can't really leave. Maybe. Yeah. Here's our third new scene. So this is not the AT-AT scene, because we know from the Star Wars Celebration leaked trailer that there's a Din Djarin hallway scene, because the hallway is an AT-AT walker, and he's just taken out so many stormtroopers, snow troopers, left and right, taking them down with all these different gizmos and gadgets that he has, and it's going to be awesome. Again, more cool action. But here, we assume we're on the snow planet, because it looks like there's some snow around the door, and these are snow troopers, like we saw on Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back. Now, what this planet is, well, that still remains to be seen. This big Imperial facility on a snowy planet, could it still be Starkiller Base? Possibly. Or Ilum being turned into Starkiller Base? Possibly. Could it be a different snowy planet? I don't know. You tell me in the chat, what planet do you think this snowy one is from the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer? But here we got Din Djarin using his flamethrower to distract the stormtroopers and then take them out. Now, my head is kind of in the way here, so I'm going to drag it over. What do you think that is on the right there? Supplies of some sort? Like, it's so weirdly... I don't really know. Like, the shape is so odd. There's like weird little textures going on in here with like bump it out there, and it doesn't look like a crate. I don't know what this is. I have no idea, but it's really, really weird. So that is really the only thing that's in this scene that could be. I mean, there's that on the left, but that's more of a light source, it looks like. But this is really the only thing we have to go off of for what this place could be holding or its utility. You know, like, what is that? A bunch of weird shapes. I don't know. But I'm hoping that it's still Ilum. that would be great. If it's Ilum being turned into Starkiller Base, that would be fan-frickin-tastic. But here you get Din Djarin being all badass, as per usual, with a flamethrower. Jordan, you're insane. Jordan says, if you listen really, really carefully, Stinky the Hut shouts, Din lives in that arena. I don't believe you. Flamethrower to distract the stormtroopers. Like that. Look at that shot. Are you kidding me? Oh, so good. The Mandalorian on Disney Plus is already like movie quality, like the visual effects and all that is all great. But now you add the budget of a movie to the Mandalorian and Grogu, and it's just going to look even better and even crazier action sequences and explosions and all this great stuff. He just uses the fire as a distraction to blind them and, I guess, sort of catch them on fire, and then uses his blaster to shoot his friend, and it cuts away. But that's so badass. I mean, come on. What's interesting to me about this is that Grogu is on his shoulder. However, in the leaked trailer that shows him going through all the snow troopers on the AT-AT, he doesn't have Grogu with him. So it's a little interesting of like what's going on there type deal. Not quite sure. Still think it's Ilum because of the trees and, you know, the cliff, and hopefully at the bottom of this cliff is, you know, the middle ring of Ilum. It would be so awesome. Swifty, what's up? How we doing? No way Mike ignored that super chat like it's nothing. Because I know he didn't say that. I know what Stinky says. He says, what a wonderful day. Like, somebody must really not like Din Djarin, because they put all of the monsters up against him in this gladiator ring. Like, it's not a one-on-one here. This isn't Thor versus Hulk in Thor Ragnarok. This is Din Djarin versus everybody. Everybody. Badass kid. All right, you want me to go back to What a Wonderful Day? Here you go.
Impressive.
I didn't hear it. Din Djarin is playing ultimate holo chess. Yeah, this is like, you know, have you ever seen Harry Potter? Have you ever seen the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone or whatever the hell they call that movie? You know when at the end of the movie, Ron, Harry, Hermione, they all, you know, are playing giant chess, and Ron like sacrifices himself, you know, to save the day. That's what this is, except the Star Wars version. This is giant Star Wars chess. This movie is pretty much a remake of Harry Potter. Write that down. Grogu's going to go to Hogwarts and become a wizard, and Din Djarin is his real parents, and his real parents are dead. So The Force Awakens got a lot of crap for being a remake or a very similar movie to A New Hope. Now this is going to get crapped on for being the same as the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone or whatever the stone might want to be. You guys are crazy, but I love it. I love it. Nothing compares to Star Wars. Nothing compares to Star Wars. Now that's true. That's the truth right there. Harry Potter sucks next to Star Wars. Well, pretty much everything sucks if you put it next to Star Wars, but Harry Potter's not that bad. I like this Harry Potter movies growing up. They're pretty good. I'm happy we got to see some Hutt action. Hope we get the emergence of the Hutt cartel influence. Oh, there's going to be a ton of Hutt stuff in this movie. You already got Stinky in the trailer. You already have Jeremy Allen White talking about how big a role he's going to have. And you have the twin Hutts, who are both on the poster for the movie. What are the chances that Grogu is Yoda and Yaddle's son? I would say extremely high. Like extremely, extremely high. Because those are the only other two Grogu species or Yoda species that we know of in Star Wars. So it's most likely that's the case. Swifty says, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? Mine is The Force Awakens. Nice. Love that. It was the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens 2 days ago. So shout out to The Force Awakens. My favorite Star Wars movie is Revenge of the Sith. As we talked about it earlier, you know, it's a kid's movie, but Anakin Skywalker is also turning to the dark side, murdering younglings, and getting burned alive. That's not particularly why I like that movie, but hey, some of the best Star Wars, some of the best movies of all time have the good guys losing. The Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One are my 3 top Star Wars movies. And in all those movies, I mean, technically the good guys kind of win in the end with Rogue One, but still, like our heroes, Cassian, Jyn, they die. Unless, no, they die. And so you're so accustomed to the good guys winning in a movie that when they lose, you're like, holy crap, that was awesome. You know? So, love me some Revenge of the Sith. That's my favorite. But tell me your favorite Star Wars movie in the chat. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. And again, there's no wrong answers unless you say, no, I guess there's no wrong answers. I was going to make a joke, but I couldn't even think of one. Unless you say the Ewok movie. I don't know. I don't know. Holy crap, look at all these Revenge of the Siths. That's crazy. Love it. The Last Jedi. Respect. Respect. Last Jedi is probably one of my least favorite Star Wars movies, but hey, even my least favorite Star Wars movie is probably higher than almost 90% of other movies ever. Yeah. The Holiday Special. There you go. Unless you say the Holiday Special. So let's watch this trailer one more time all the way through, because then we got to talk about Andor Season 2. Stinky shouts Maz in the arena 100%. Well, let's fact check that. So this we have 3 new scenes. The opening scene where Din Djarin is definitely confirming that he's going to die. The middle scene of the flamethrower, which is just badass as hell. And then the final scene, which is 14 seconds of a gladiator fight scene of Din Djarin versus the hollow chess pieces from the Millennium Falcon.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor first. It's got to fit snug so it doesn't slide, but not so tight that it restricts your movement. Got it?
I kind of hear Maz now. Is it bad that I kind of hear Maz? Attack of the Clones is underrated. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Attack of the Clones is extremely underrated. The lovey-love stuff with Padme and Anakin gets so much crap. It's awesome, okay? It's a love story. Just because you're lonely in real life doesn't mean that Anakin and Padme can't be happy for a couple years. Doesn't Maz Kanata sound like she could be in this movie? Like, think about what you know about that character. She runs a cantina. She's 1,000 years old. That seems like it would be a friend of Din Djarin's, doesn't it? Like, it sounds like a person that he would cross paths with. I don't think she'll be in the movie, but you know, there is a Razor Crest at Maz's castle. Just saying. All right, but that's the trailer. 3 new scenes. What's honestly the coolest part about this is, yes, we're getting new scenes. We're getting new content. It's great. We still know pretty much nothing about this movie, at least in terms of the plot. Who's the bad guy? We assume the Imperial Remnant, but there needs to be a specific bad guy. We know the 2 Shadow Council members will be in there. Will Thrawn even be seen? Probably not. But then who's the bad guy? How big a role will Stinky have in it? Well, it's going to be this big climactic ending. There needs to be an arc, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. That's how movies work. There needs to be an actual movie to be told, a story to be told, and we don't know anything about it. So they're really doing a great job with these teaser trailers just by teasing us, giving us just enough to be satisfied, just enough action to be like, oh my God, that's so cool, and not really still understand what's happening in this movie. I mean, they did it all the time with the Mandalorian series on Disney Plus, but they're continuing that trend, and it's really, really effective. Because right now, I'm really excited for this movie. We're 5 months away, but I'm still really excited because of this trailer. And I don't know a single thing. Well, I mean, you know, I don't know important things about the plot or the characters or anything of that sort. And it feels like we should, but we don't. We have no idea. So that's really, really cool. There's the Mandalorian and Grogu new trailer with 3 new scenes, but we got some other stuff to talk about today, so we can circle back to that trailer later on. But let's talk Andor Season 2. 2025 is coming to a close. We are in the last 2 weeks of the year. Crazy. 2025 flew by. We did hit 190,000 subscribers the other day, so that was a pretty cool goal to hit before the end of the year. Yeah, I mean, that's insane. Did not intend to have this much growth in a single year. That's just wild. But however, we did, and it was awesome. So 2 weeks left until the end of the year. And as we look back at 2025, which we will be doing a lot more next week with sort of end of the year stream type deal, we got to talk about Andor Season 2 being voted as the best show of the year by specific outlets. Okay, so not everybody's saying that, but specific outlets are saying that. So let's take a look at this. Nope, not that. Nope, not that. Nope, not that. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, here we go. Andor Season 2. There it is. Empire Magazine's names Andor Season 2 the best television series of 2025. Mon Mothma's blistering speech to the Imperial Senate wasn't the first body blow delivery of Tony Gilroy's astonishing second season of Andor, even though a part of us was still bleeding in the rubble of Palmo Plaza. But boy, did it hit hard. Tony Gilroy hasn't been coy about the real-world inspirations of his revolutionary series, but never had the lines between Star Wars and real world felt so gossamer thin, I suppose. The Tales of Rebellion. What we sacrifice. Everything! And the fragility of tyrannical rule. Andor stands as something quite extraordinary. A political manifesto, a masterclass in subtle character work, which, when it comes to Star Wars, you're usually talking about the main characters, these superheroes, pretty much, for lack of a better word. Force users, lightsaber wielders, Jedi, Sith, the heroes, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi. But in this show, you're focusing on the little guy. The Cassian, of course, but the Saw-Gerreras, your Luthans, your Cleas, your Vels, your Mon Mothmas, of course. A gripping political thriller, spy thriller, and the most accomplished piece of storytelling Star Wars has ever produced. I guess in terms of awards won. That it emerges as a prequel to a prequel, turning a forgettable, easy for me to say, cipher into one of the saga's most compelling heroes. So Cassian, who was pretty much a forgettable character in Rogue One, he is a main character. I guess Jyn Erso is technically the main character of that movie, but he is dead by the end of the movie. Taking that character and making a spin-off show about just him, I guess other characters too, but him specifically, and making it one of the greatest, most compelling pieces of the entire Skywalker saga. Craziness. Mon Mothma's trauma groove, Cyril's tragic revelation. Before we continue, I gotta tell you something about Cyril. I saw something today, a video on somewhere, that said, what was a character that started as one of your least favorite characters and turned into one of your favorites? And I looked in the comment section of that video, and there were some pretty good answers. But my answer would be Cyril. And it's really not even close. Cyril goes from eating cereal, not cereal, but cereal, with his mom for pretty much the entirety of season 1, being the annoying character that I absolutely hated in season 1, to one of my favorite characters in season 2. Like top 3 easily in season 2. That is character development. That is incredible. So, yeah, Cyril's tragic revelation of who are you in that incredible 9th episode? Yeah, 8th episode. 8th episode. Yes. Lonnie slumped on the bench. Oof. After Luthen kills him, after he tells him about the Death Star. Crazy. Clea's final act of mercy. Dedra's head in hands, screaming at her fate. Of course, being in a prison that Cassian was in. The series gifted so many perfect moments that it's hard to single out just 1 or 2 or 10. Each of these moments contributed to the series that not only made for an incredible season of television, but one that completely transformed the way that we see Lucas's franchise going forward. It truly is. And not just the way that they describe it there, but it truly is. Like when you think back to watching Andor season 2, at least in my personal opinion, it was one of the funnest times I've ever had watching Star Wars. The emotions that you go through, from like happiness to sadness to everything in between, in those episodes of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, pretty much the whole back half of the season, was just perfect. Even the first half of the season was the perfect setup for the back half, but a continuation of that first season as well. And we could talk about the specifics of all that Who Are You episode on Gorman, or even the Mon Mothma speech, of course, and all that greatness, or Clea and Luthen's death and all the Death Star stuff, and the connections to Rogue One and how perfect it was. But let's just start here. Let me put up a poll in the chat, and while I do so, tell me, oh wow, this poll has swung. Whoa! This was going crazy a second ago. All right, but while I put up a new poll, tell me in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rank Andor Season 2? Andor Season 2. I know it came out probably 7, 8 months ago, but where would you rank it on a scale of 1 to 10? And by the way, this poll, do you think Din Djarin will die in The Mandalorian and Grogu? 65% of you say no. 35% say yes. And I agree with you, 35%ers, but only time will tell. But let's put up this poll and look at these scores. 10, 10, 9.5, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So rank it out of 10, but let's put this up. Do you think Andor Season 2 is the best show, we'll put it that way, of 2025? Yes or no? The best season or show or series of television in 2025. Yes or no? Now, here is the competition. And I know it's going to be pretty biased because we're a Star Wars community. We love Star Wars. I still think you take the fact of being a Star Wars fan out of it. You even take the fact of it being a Star Wars show out of it. Just plain and simple storytelling and character development. Like, all of it is just perfect. So, yeah, I'm in the high 9s. Like, you're talking 9.7s, 9.8s for Andor Season 2. It's a masterpiece. The only thing that takes a little bit off of it is the first half of the season, but it has to be that way because it has to be a setup to make that second half feel meaningful. Cyril's redemption, Cyril's turn in that 7th or 8th episode doesn't mean anything without the first 6, so it does have to happen. But, yes, I do see a couple other shows in the chat. Severance Season 2, incredible. I'm watching Pluribus, so good. Of course, Stranger Things, but that hasn't finished yet. What else came out this year? Did Invincible Season 3 come out this year? I think it did. That was really, really good. There's been some really good television this year. Don't get me wrong. But still, in all of that, and I'm a huge Severance fan, I'm a huge Pluribus fan, Andor Season 2 is leaps and bounds ahead of all of that. In my personal opinion. Again, this is all just coming from a guy who literally runs a YouTube channel called The Guy Who Loves Star Wars. So, take it with a giant grain of salt. But, yeah. So, if it's not Andor Season 2, then what was your favorite show of the year? Tell me in the chat. And when we look back at Star Wars in 2025, Andor Season 2 is the big shining, whoa, this was awesome. There's a lot of other stuff, but we'll get to that next week when we go through all that. Yeah. So look at some of these scores. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9.8, 7, okay, 10, 10, 9.5, 10, 10. So some pretty high scores. It's crazy because Star Wars and Marvel never gets nominated for those things anymore. Andor was just that good. True. Andor got nominated for so many Emmys and all these other awards, whatever it is. And that doesn't happen with these Star Wars things because for some reason, Marvel and Star Wars, they're considered like their own sort of thing off to the side. And it's not like actors' performances are considered when it comes to these other award things because it's Star Wars and it's sci-fi and it's goofy or it's superheroes, so it doesn't really get the consideration for those awards. But Andor did because it was that good. Yeah. Andor was great. I don't watch a lot of telly. I stream more. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Andor is one that I always go back to, too. If I ever want to just sit down and watch something from Star Wars, turn it on Andor, maybe Season 2, Episode 7, and just go in for the arc there, depending on how much time I have. But it is a go-to for sure. That's how you know it's good. Paradise, I did not watch. Silo Season 2, I did not watch either, but I've heard both those are really good. Severance, Andor, now Pluribus, what a great year. And add Stranger Things. Stranger Things might go down, depending on how it ends. I think it'll end very, very well. I mean, it's off to a hot start in this 5th season. But depending on how it ends, Stranger Things might go down as one of my all-time favorite shows ever. Now, whenever I put shows, like when I talk about my favorite shows ever, I take Star Wars out of the equation. Because Star Wars, it is different, especially for me. It's just different. It's not even comparable because I love Star Wars so much. So like all these different Star Wars shows would be so far ahead of everything else. But for just shows in general, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, those are towards the top of the list. Prison Break is great. Game of Thrones. Watched something really, really good recently, and I can't think of what it is. Severance is really good, but it's not over yet. But if Stranger Things Season 5 sticks the landing, which is extremely difficult to do, a good ending to a show is so hard to accomplish, and that's why Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are so high, because the ending is perfection. If it has a perfect ending, it might be my favorite show of all time, non-Star Wars. Yeah. My 17-year-old son warned me that Stranger Things 2025 is not very good. Whoa, that's a hot take right there. Season 5 has been great so far. We've only seen the first half, and of course it ends on this big cliffhanger. But so far it's been really, really great. It's just like, to me, it's like Avengers Endgame. They took all the expectations that you had at the end of season 4 and pretty much flipped it on its head and gave you an incredible story that you didn't know you needed. They made... No, I'm not going to spoil any of it. I'll just say that. It's not what you expect it to be, but it's better than you expected it to be. Like, I didn't know what I expected from season 5, but this is better than what I expected. You know? Jordan with a very generous $2 holla says, Andor is the best show of 2026 as well. We'll see about that. I think Ahsoka Season 2 has something to say about that. Also, 2026 is going to be loaded. It's going to have stuff like Invincible Season 4, The Boys Season 5. What else is in 2025? That's 2026. A lot more movies than shows, I suppose, but still. Yeah. It's weird that I'm going to watch a brutal genocide for May the 4th now. But I will be? Oh, on Gorman. Okay. That 3-episode arc is so peak that I have... and to have it is a Star Wars dream come true. Okay. Mike, you're always killing off characters. Mike, you're always such a grim reaper. Mike, why are you always killing everybody off? Your favorite Star Wars content is a massacre of people of Gorman. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. Can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bumba. Ahsoka isn't going to top Andor, in my opinion, but hopefully it will be very good nonetheless. Well, to me, Ahsoka Season 1 is better than Andor Season 1. So if Ahsoka Season 2 has the same upgrade that Andor Season 2 had from Season 1 to Season 2, then Ahsoka Season 2 will be better. And I think it can be. When you're talking about at least, maybe not in the way that Andor was really, really good. For example, like a in-depth, very, very specific character development story that it is in building the rebellion and stuff like that. But Ahsoka adds way more on the lore side of things with the Mortis gods and maybe Abeloth in a new galaxy. Yes, there's still that character development with hopefully characters like Grand Admiral Thrawn specifically. But in terms of building the world and expanding the lore, Ahsoka does 10 million times the amount that Andor did. Andor did mention the Rakatan Empire, though, so you gotta hand him that. Yes. True. It looks nice, but just make sure you don't put any hot liquids in your black plastic. Yeah, no, I don't. It's always just cold water. Sadly, I'm not really fun. You know? All I drink is water. You know? Okay. Water, of course. Yes. All right. By the way, 84% of you right now say that yes, Andor Season 2 is the best show of the year. I agree with you. I agree. But it is up for debate. Star Wars also posted this for the end-of-year review for 2025 in terms of all of its projects this year. And it's almost like people forgot how great a year we had as Star Wars fans. Yes, the majority of stuff did happen in the early half of the year, but still, 2025 is nothing to shy away from. It was a very, very good year, as you can just tell by all this stuff right here. But let's take a look at this. Let's peruse this Star Wars year in review of 2025. It's been a very busy year across the galaxy. The Star Wars universe expanded in 2025 with thrilling new adventures, major milestones, and a whole host of exciting announcements. 2025 might be the year of announcements, from Star Wars Celebration earlier in the year to even ending off the year with the Game Awards with Fate of the Old Republic and Galactic Racers. But new releases like Andor Season 2, the finale of Skeleton Crew. I always forget that Skeleton Crew ended in 2025. The complete anthology collection of Star Wars Visions Volume 3, the 6 episodes of Tales of the Underworld with Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane. Oh, yeah. I bet you forgot that came out in 2025. It seems so long ago. Forged bold new stories. Well, beloved films like Star Wars Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars The Force Awakens celebrated big anniversaries, 20th and 10th anniversaries. It does seem like a long, long time ago, but I did go and see the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith in theaters, giving us a new good cup that follows orders. That was this year, too, in 2025. There was something new in seemingly every corner of the galaxy, stretching across Disney Plus series, upcoming theatrical movies, games, books, comics, and more. So here we put together a crew of at StarWars.com contributors to break down the biggest announcements and major moments and milestones of 2025. And of course, they start with the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, and how Star Wars Starfighter entered production. Star Wars Starfighter, we learned on Thursday, did wrap filming and is now in post-production. So that's pretty cool. Grogu going for a little swim? You have my attention. Them focusing on that is cool. Mythosaur, maybe. There's nothing quite like settling into a movie theater seat to experience a new Star Wars story for the first time. That is a fact. Star Wars was born in the movie theaters, and that's where it's always destined to be. I love me some Disney Plus shows, don't get me wrong. I love me the animated side of Star Wars too. But there is nothing like sitting in a movie theater and watching Star Wars. Jordan, with the very generous $5 haul, says a serious one here. Did Maz know Rey was a Palpatine in The Force Awakens? When she looks into her eyes in those goggles? No, I don't think she can tell you your bloodline by looking at your eyes, but she could be like, she's seen those eyes before. Because she's so old that she's come across so many people and she can sort of read people because of their eyes. It's not like she knew she was related to Palpatine. Hopefully that answers your question. Continuing. Well, last year saw the announcement of The Mandalorian and Grogu in 2024 and the end of production. It wasn't until this September when everybody got a look at the excitement that awaits with the first trailer. Rollicking teaser trailer and poster that captures the spirit of the adventure that will bring the clan of 2 to the big screen. It will shortly be a clan of 1 after it hits the big screen, but Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni gave us a glimpse at the first Star Wars theatrical release since 2019's Rise of Skywalker, starring Pedro Pascal, a.k.a. Din Djarin, a.k.a. The Mandalorian, Sigourney Weaver as Colonel Ward. So this is yet another thing. Leakers and scoopers, we always say take it with a giant grain of salt because stuff like this. We were told by leakers that her name was going to be Colonel Ripley, I believe, right? And it was supposed to be a callback to her character, or sorry, not to her character, but to the Alien franchise. That was wrong. So Colonel Ward and Grogu himself, May 22nd, 2026, promises to be an unforgettable new chapter for Star Wars in cinemas. Unforgettable, as Brandon Wayne said, franchise changing. Yeah. Bishop. What did I say? Did I not say Bishop? Did I not say Bishop? Okay. Yeah. Unforgettable or franchise changing. And as if the surprise Star Wars Celebration announcement that Ryan Gosling starring in a Sean Levy Star Wars Starfighter didn't already have us utterly delighted, the start of production brought about the announcement of the dazzling cast, including Mia Goth, Matt Smith, and Amy Adams, to name a few, in the first image of Gosling in character alongside of co-star Flynn Gray. Oh, is that just the person that they're quoting? Okay, it is, yeah. So this was our first image of Starfighter, and Starfighter just wrapped filming. I said Ripley. Oh, okay, yes, that's my fault. Colonel Bishop. I said Ripley. Thank you. So the Colonel Bishop was wrong. 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Not much to say there. It did, however, make another $42 million, which is awesome. Love to see that. That was cool. Andor Season 2 reminded us that we have friends everywhere. How do you build a revolution? Slowly, carefully, and with thousands of small acts of sacrifice. Andor's second and final season debuted this spring on Disney+, following star Diego Luna's young freedom fighter, Cassian Andor, as he navigates the pitfalls and perils of sowing rebellion. Sure. The result, a triumphant and jaw-dropping thriller. Of course, we understand. We just talked about Andor Season 2 and how great it was. It won 14 Emmy Award nominations and 5 wins. Crazy. Skeleton Crew ended in this year. It did start in 2024, but ended this year. In January, Skeleton Crew brought our favorite group of far-flung kids, Wim, Neil, Fern, and KB, who we want to see really soon. Like, we want to see them again in maybe Season 2 or maybe in Ahsoka Season 2 or something in the Mandoverse. But the sad part is this did end this year, so it's likely that we won't be seeing these characters for some pretty long period of time. But AT-ATN is probably going to be pretty relevant to Grand Admiral Thrawn's efforts and all that greatness too. Tales of the Underworld gave us a sort of spotlight on 2 characters that thrive in the shadows. For devotees of the scoundrels, assassins, and hunters of the galaxy of Star Wars galaxy, this past year proved to be a bountiful. Sure. The 6-episode anthology Tales of the Underworld debuted on Disney Plus on May the 4th, aka Star Wars Day, giving a redemption arc for Asajj Ventress and an origin tale for Cad Bane, which both stories will likely lead to something. They have to. Asajj Ventress walks away with a new apprentice, and Cad Bane has a child, is what we learned in that as well. And there's him as a child, but he has a child. Then we get a 20th anniversary stuff for in the announcement of Maul's Shadow Lord, where I believe there is a... Yeah, here we go. Maul's Shadow Lord will explore Maul's quest for power in the gritty and merciless underworld following the aftermath of the Clone Wars and Order 66. So watch it in the new year. More details in the new year. So that will come out in 2026. But that's sort of a description of what this is going to be. Right after Order 66, right after the Clone Wars, how he gains power in the underworld. Yes, Tales of the Galaxy. I've seen Rebuild the Galaxy. Pieces of the Past, or Season 2, came out this year, and this was a fun one for sure. Giving us characters like Darth Bane and other great things like that. Was pretty great. I miss Skeleton Crew. Yeah, let's do the same thing we did with Andor Season 2, shall we? On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rank Skeleton Crew? On a scale of 1 to 10. Tell me in the chat. And then Visions Volume 3, which, as you guys know, I'm not the biggest Visions fan, but so many people did love this 3rd season. So many people love the Visions stuff in general, just because it's, well, anime, or they're big anime fans, or whatever it may be. There's that. And then Star Wars Celebration gave us so many announcements, so many interviews, so many great stuff. Next year is Zero Company, along with, well, not this, but along with Galactic Racer. And then you have Fate of the Old Republic, which was announced last week, or 2 weeks ago, maybe. And then the publishing side, you had the High Republic Phase 3 come out, which I have still not read, but I've heard it's really, really good. And the comic side, you've had a bunch of great comics with the Legacy of Vader comics being really, really good and all that. A New Hope comes back to theaters in 2027, so not next year, but the following year. And it's the original Force Awakens 10-year anniversary. So, yeah. No small year for Star Wars this year. That's absolutely the case. But there you have it. Indeed. I still think 2026 will be the best year for Star Wars, but only time will tell. Look at this. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rank Skeleton Crew? 9, 9, 9, 6.75, okay. 7.8, 8, 9, 10. I love Skeleton Crew. I think it is extremely, extremely underrated. Extremely underrated. Maybe it's because it came after The Acolyte. Maybe it's because it didn't have any legacy characters. whatever it may be. It's so underrated, and I think in the long run, years from now, when we look back and maybe we have a second season of Skeleton Crew, or maybe they're very integral to the main story going forward, we're going to look back and see how important and good Skeleton Crew Season 1 was in setting up these characters and setting up this world and Atten and these, the great works and all that stuff. So I would probably rank it around 8.6, maybe. Around there. High eights. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, do you think Andor Season 2 is the best show of 2025? 80% of you, or 79% of you, say yes. 21% say no. Yeah. $1,120,000,000? What? What? A 7, a 9, a 10 out of 10, a 6.7. Nice. Pretty high scores. Good to know nobody hated it. That's for sure. Oh, a 1,12,000,000 out of 10. I see. That's some pretty high praise. Indeed. Oh, this was the other news too. So it's likely that the next public trailer, because the one we watched today was not released publicly, the new rumors suggest that this next public trailer won't be released until February. Now, what do you know that's in February when this trailer would drop? Anybody? Why would this trailer drop in February? This does make me think that the rumors about the Maul Shadow Lord trailer dropping in January are definitely true because they want to spread out those trailer droppings. Trailer droppings. They definitely want to spread them out so that they're not releasing trailers on top of each other. But why would they do it in February? Thoughts? Valentine's Day? No. Valentine's Day is, not the greatest spot for trailer dropping.
I got a bad feeling about this.
No. Definitely not that. Oh my God, is going to go through all the super chats again? Stop that. Fight back against this trailer. Thank you. Mr. Porter, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is likely the reason when and why it will be releasing in February. It will be a Super Bowl commercial. Usually they tend to do those around the time where a big trailer is going to drop for them or for a big movie coming out in the spring. And that's what we're looking at when it comes to The Mandalorian and Grogu. Comes out in the spring. And the Super Bowl will be about 3 months before the release. In the perfect time for a brand new trailer. Super Bowl for the droplings? Yes. For the trailer droplings, you're going to have the Super Bowl. So if you're looking for the next Star Wars or next Mandalorian and Grogu trailer release, you're going to be waiting for at least probably a month and a half to 2 months. But the next trailer to drop for Star Wars might be Maul Shadow Lord in January. But we did get the new trailer today, although it was just leaked. It's still a trailer that dropped today. So with 3 new scenes. So I'm sure we'll get more leaked trailers and more stuff like that for The Mandalorian and Grogu. But for an actual publicly released online trailer, it's going to be probably not until February for the Super Bowl. And that Super Bowl will be perfect to fit all of our trailer droplings in. But with that being said, I do have to get on out of here. I got to go finish up a short for today. Watch out for that at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am still working on that What If. It's coming along nicely. We'll say that. Slowly but nicely. Hoping to get it out before the end of the year. That would be ideal. But until then, we got a stream on Tuesday. Maybe not on, or actually definitely not on Thursday. It's Christmas Day, so we will not be having a live stream on Thursday. But Tuesday, definitely, not Thursday. And then back to it on Saturday. So until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, Smash a freaking like in the stream if you have not already. How many likes do we have, chat? Am I gonna be upset? Am I gonna be upset? Why did the crime syndicates gain more power with the rise of the Empire? Well, probably because the Empire wasn't really focused on the criminal underworld at first. They were more focused on, controlling the whole galaxy. And the criminal underworld didn't really affect them all that much. That's my guess. But, yes. I thought you'd get more time off at Christmas. What do you mean? Yeah, we're not doing a stream on Christmas. I'm taking Christmas Day off, chat. Hate to break it to you. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, so I can say the same thing then. But, yeah. Until then, hope you have a great rest of your evening. Smash a freaking like in the stream, and may the force be with you. Always. Oh yeah, what a great stream, what a great show. You guys the absolute best. No, I thought you'd take the whole day off, the whole week off. No, what? We're streaming on Tuesday, 100%. We'll take Christmas Day off. We don't need to take the whole week off. We got Star Wars to talk about. But I appreciate all the hearts, guys. I really, really do. Smash a freaking like on your way out if you have not already. Hit that subscribe. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.